Hello.
Hello. We're
Howdy.
doing this.
We are.
I think we've been talking about doing this for 6 months.
I think we have.
I've been talking about doing this for 6 months.
True. And I've been nodding and saying, sure.
Before we even had Macyn's jars, I think I wanted to do like a family podcast because sometimes the banter is
entertaining.
I think.
And sometimes it's not.
And even if we just had it for us, I think it would be cool. I don't know. Anyways.
To look back.
Here we are.
Hello.
We've started. Hello. We're doing it again. I mean, we could do it 14 times. We're not new to podcasting, but this is a new podcast.
This is.
Well, I mean, we've done podcasts for other people.
Dad loves the banter.
Telling people who we are. We've done that.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of weird to just be you and I talking about it because you and I both know everything. Literally.
Yeah. Everything that happened.
So
everything.
It's kind of weird to just bring it up and talk about it. But let's just talk about it.
I'm Kellen.
I'm Aaron. And
I'm the president of Macyn's Jars.
And I'm not.
You are one of the advisors.
Correct. I am an advisor to Macyn's Jars, the board.
Yeah.
The board is made up of
my mom, my dad, and my mom's friend, who is
those
basically...
are advisors. Those three are advisors. The board is made up of
me and my 4 younger sisters. Kiara's the same age.
She's her twin. Yeah.
But yeah, we deliver Macyn jars full of fidget toys.
It's like we're sitting in the office.
Yeah, like we could grab
one.
Where
could we find a Macyn jar? Wow. And to my right.
So we deliver these to hospitals, to police stations, to fire departments, to specialty offices.
And what's inside them?
So there are 5 different type of fidgets. There's a squeezy star. There's a stretchy worm. There's a soccer ball that spins. There's a poppet, and there is what we call a click-clack, which is it's like basically like that.
Click-clack. And the click-clack is it's a nostalgic. This is a nostalgic fidget. This thing came back.
That's what people tell me.
This one doesn't click very well, or you would be able to. Can you hear it? Kind of.
Oh, kind of.
Can you hear it over my stomach growling? Wow. Okay, so like the click-clack is I think it's kind of fun. Maybe this one will click better. This is a nostalgic. Whoa. Somebody put a couple together that were probably broken. But yeah. I think people who are like in their 30s and
parents
40s.
like this one.
Yeah, this one comes apart too easily, which is for sure why we didn't keep it for our quality control.
Completely.
So basically, and this little episode that we have here is just a little brief overview of who we are. So we're Macyn's Jars. And we provide fidget jars to hospitals, and then mostly in the northern Illinois.
Yeah, we're branching out. We have one in Montana.
Like we're kind of branching out. Honestly, it's just our family that does this. Nobody is paid to work for Macyn's Jars. We are a 501c3, so like it's not like we're not legit or anything. It's just that we've grown. We thought McHenry County was going to be a lot. And now we're even past McHenry County. Well, we're in 62 locations now. And it's been how many? Okay, so we started September of 2023.
So 15 months?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15 months. And we're in 62 locations. There's more that we're onboarding.
Yeah.
We call it onboarding.
I was like, I have at least 5 in the queue being like, when do we need jars?
We did hit a teeny tiny pause in the last month of onboarding just because Kiara, your twin, had a baby. So she was our onboarder. So she was doing all of the dropping off. And so everybody else has kind of had to take on their roles plus her role, which has been fine. But and it's kind of the holidays. So it's kind of working out that completely everything is kind of slowing down here because of the weather. It's just kind of what happens. So
it's like it would be chaos if we're trying to manage getting everyone together for the holidays and then also, hey, we're going to onboard 5 new people.
But also like we're outputting more than 2,000 jars a month. It's closer to 3,000 jars a month. So like we host packing parties for these jars here. We call them parties. It's more like an event. We'll call it an event. Where we have a huge table out in the other room and people stand at and assembly line these jars. And we have all kinds of people come in and do that. And that's like, I think it's one of the coolest parts.
Yeah, it's great to like have conversations with these people who either A, know about Macyn Jars, got a Macyn Jar, or are brand spanking new to Macyn Jars and have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah, because we've outputted about 36,000 jars now.
Yeah.
in 15 months.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's insane.
It feels like a lot.
Well, people keep asking me, like, when are you going to stop? And I'm like, what does that mean?
What do you mean stop?
Yeah, like, stop taking new people.
Oh, you mean stop on board?
Yeah, stop getting new people, stop branching out.
Well, I guess when we don't have money.
But that's not been an issue.
It's not been an issue. Like, not that we, I mean, we could for sure use donations, don't get me wrong, but it's not been, like, when we needed the money, it's been there. When we've needed to scale, it's been there. And so every, like, bit of money that comes in goes right back into the jars.
Yeah.
Our jar cost is really good, I think. Plus, like, this jar still has a label on it. Now our jars come and they're already pre-labeled. They're already pre-labeled. So that's helpful too, because we used to have prep parties and volunteers come in and
put stickers on everything. Stickers on jars,
and we don't have to do that anymore, which is great.
Yeah.
We should honestly start hosting shipment parties though, because
you take some jars, go somewhere else.
No, take the boxes that come in, because that part takes Dad all day if he's doing it. But
yeah.
You know,
they all come individually wrapped, so it's just tossing them the whole time.
So, like, a brief, why did we start this?
So
we are gonna, in the next episode, we are gonna go kind of deep into what happened, and we've never really talked about what happened in a deeper way. Yeah, and that episode might be harder than we think. We'll see.
Cross my fingers on that one.
Yeah, we'll see. But why did we start this?
So in February 2021,
I know it's
I always like think 2023 and I'm like, that was last year. In February 2021, I was bitten in the face by a dog while babysitting, and my nose was tore completely off. But with that tragedy came, we started GoFundMe to raise money because I wasn't able to go back to work. I worked in the hospital at the time, so during COVID, where you had to wear all those masks, and we raised enough money in that GoFundMe to fund my mortgage for an entire year. And as like a complete family, like all of us, even though Alec and I live like on our own, we couldn't just take that and be like, okay, that was a blessing. That's it. We're not going to do anything. So we like took some time, obviously, with healing and everything, and then came back together and tried to figure out what we could do to help the community that helped us so much.
Yeah.
It's a brief summary.
Yeah, a really brief summary. So she was babysitting. She had her nose bit. We came together, and after, honestly, I don't think we knew how supportive our community was until we were in the midst of it.
And I don't think you ever know until you're forced to be put in that situation.
Right. And I have gone back and forth in my mind as to whether or not it's like survival parenting. I will always be your mom. You were married. You were out of the house. But, man, is it better to have gone through things like this because you learn more about who your family is and who the community is? Or is it better to kind of not have, if I could have taken that from you, looking back now, it's, been many years, would I take it back?
I think, and this is like kind of, but like boosting my ego a little bit, I think I was the right person for
100%.
For it to happen to in our family.
Yeah.
Like, if
you were already married, which I know you could have gone through your wedding and it wouldn't have been a big deal. But it's kind of nice to...
It was a big deal even when Kiara got married to me.
But when Kiara got married was only a year later. Like, you were still in surgeries.
And that was 10 days. 10 days before my next surgery. That was
right. You had her wedding and then you went into another surgery. Because there's multiple surgeries and a whole Chicago talk that we can do.
Oh, yeah.
If we go deep into that. But I just wonder, so would you take it back?
No. At this point, like, I look back and what I was posting like a year out, and I was so mad I would have taken it back then. Now I wouldn't at all. Not only like before we even started Macyn's Jars, I had so many people reaching out that I had no idea this could even happen. We were around German Shepherds all our life.
Oh, you mean like a dog attack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had no idea.
Yeah.
That could actually happen.
Right. And then you just don't realize the damage that can happen from a domesticated dog.
Completely.
If that,
like you hear about like pit bulls attacking, whatever.
Right.
And I was
it's
like,
not really talked about.
completely.
And I think the other thing is like a lot of people, like even when you called, and this will be talked about more, but even when you called, I never envisioned that your bite was going to be on your face. I
Yeah.
envisioned it being on your arm.
Yeah.
Or like on like a limb.
Yeah.
It was never like, yeah, that was.
And I'll definitely go into it next time, but like that's
Yeah.
what the part that like completely tore everything apart was, because it was, I mean, again, I'll go over it, but it was like an act of kindness that was greeted with my face.
What do you mean?
I was
Oh, you were petting
the dog and turned around
and the dog attacked you regardless. Like you weren't hitting the dog. So,
yeah, completely.
Yeah, so it's like it didn't make any sense to you. Like what you were doing should not have caused the impact.
Completely.
Yeah, I get that. It's kind of like being broadsided in a car. Like if you were just sitting at a stoplight and having somebody slam into you, like it doesn't make any sense. Like you have to wrap your mind around that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so who is Macyn?
Macyn's my daughter.
Well,
she's crazy.
Sorry, how did we come up with the name? The name is Macyn's Jars.
So Macyn, I've had her name since.
So she wasn't born when that attack happened.
No, not at all. She was definitely thought about.
Yeah, the name was for sure thought about.
Yeah, and we were like just starting to like talk about having kids at this point.
Yeah.
And then sorry, I'm blanking out.
Macyn's Jars.
Yeah. And then like further on, once we finally got to after surgeries and everything, and I started working on myself, I got pregnant with Macyn, and it was just like we already knew this name. This was already planned. Her name
since like almost
literally
late
6th grade,
junior high. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 6th grade is when you came up with it.
Yeah, after reading The Lucky Few by Heather Avis, who talks about like wanting to adopt a ton of, like, not a ton of kids.
Well, she had fertility issues and ended up adopting a child
with Down syndrome.
Yep.
Named Macyn.
Yeah, they named her Macyn.
She calls her Macy, but
I know. I know.
I was like, so we're very different.
No, because Alec calls your Macyn Macy, and every time I see Heather's posts now, because I look at them sometimes, and I'm like, oh, it does kind of, for him, it naturally became Macy.
Yeah, and for me,
it's never been. I would rather shorten it to Mace.
Yeah, I was like, it's Mace Eraser.
It's never been Macy. For
no,
me.
Never. And I think that was always when I was talking about her name, when I was like, yeah, you could call her Mace, like trying to justify her name, because everyone was like, what?
Oh, really?
Completely.
You're Kellen, so it makes sense.
Exactly.
Macyn makes sense to me because it's kind of spelled the same way. Like, I've always loved that name.
Yeah.
I think it's... So anyway, so Macyn Jars is named after Macyn.
Yes.
But it's really a nod back to the idea of the lucky few.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying, like, that they happen to be the lucky few because they didn't realize the blessing that was going to come out of adopting a special needs child. And not in no way are we saying that this is like adopting a special needs child, but in a way you didn't realize that the impact of it was going to teach you about your community and how you are one. I do think like you're one of the lucky few for knowing, our family is one of the lucky few for knowing that your community can show up for you in ways that you never expect until you are faced to become one of the lucky few.
Completely. And we continue to be the lucky few because of like how much our community still, we obviously have put some money into this, whatever. We don't continue because we don't need to. We are still incredibly lucky to have all of this community still coming out for us.
Yeah. Not just like obviously with donations, that part really matters, but like even people just reaching out, telling us stories when they get the jars.
Yes.
Nurses telling us about handing out jars, the donors that come in and that then the volunteers.
Yep.
Yeah. Like it does kind of continue for us.
Yeah.
And we see more than we can even tell people about because of like HIPAA. Like not that we're bound by HIPAA, we're not, but we want to make sure we're discreet on social media with some people's medical stories. We don't want to, but we do have a wall of pictures of kids holding jars and stuff like that. And when people come into the office to pack jars, they get to see all of that. So the impact here has gone, I think it's gone way beyond what we expected.
Completely.
Like we never thought. When we started with 3 jars on Marengo's ambulance, because Marengo thankfully was the first person that was like, yeah, we'll do this.
But they're so small that they could only take 3.
I loved it. Like
okay.
that, I'm so glad it was that too.
Yeah.
Like, what if it was like Loyola, like that we started with? That would have felt overwhelming.
Completely.
The fact that it was like Marengo and we could test with 3 jars on an ambulance because your teacher from CNA EMT class was like, yeah, let's go. And she worked there and to now.
Yeah.
And now we're only like 15 months in. I don't even want to think about where we're going to be at next year.
Terrifying.
But look around these walls. We're outgrowing these walls so badly as it is. So it's sort of like. So anyway, so that's who we are. We're Macyn jars. We donate fidget jars. They're plastic too. That's another thing. People always think they're glass, and it's like, no, we would not do that.
ASMR.
Yes, we're adding some. Add all the features that I don't do. As everybody loves. Yeah, I already did the click clacking. So
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So we're Macyn jars. We donate fidget jars. Our website is macynjars.org.
Yes.
And we are a 501c3, and you can check us out online. There's all ways to give back if you're interested in giving back. But other than that, we're going to continue this podcast, and our next episode is about the day that the attack happened.